Well, hello and welcome. Nana Addo's 90 days in office. Well, you see, this by far was one of the most anticipated elections, if you may ask. I mean, there was so much to it. And they went into this election, and again, the nation was very surprised about the margin of victory with which Nana Addo won. It was unheard of, to win with such big margins. Now, they had come into government with a series of promises, which were quite sound. Every village in the north would have a dam, one district, one factory, one district, $1 million, planting for jobs. I mean, it was just one promise after the other. There's nothing wrong with the promises, and so people voted for them. However, anticipation was so high that from the first day they came into office, there was this sentiment that, hey, I mean, you are in office, it's a week old, and the city is still running away, inflation is still down, and taxes are not being removed, and every now and then we have to remind ourselves that, oh, hold on, even the government machinery is not in place yet. Delta Force is running helter-skelter because they think, look, it's been 3 months, we haven't gotten any jobs, and therefore we are hitting the road. And so all these things are happening. What's the reality? And how much of the reality can be fixed? And so we're going to look at what 90 days of Nana Addo has brought, because if the water is going to boil, it will definitely start simmering from the bottom, and it's going to reach a boiling point. But if there's nothing happening, then you have to have a long, long wait. My name is Nana Sakwa the Fourth. And your favorite host. This is PM Express. When I come back, I would introduce my guest. So don't move.
After the final whistle, after the players and coaches have gone, after the fans are out of the stadium, it's now time for us to come and do the football business. The Football Show with Gary Al Smith. We show you the highlights, the unbelievable misses, the great goals, the controversial incidents, and everything that's been topical and will be topical in the week's matches.
Welcome back to the Football Show. It's live on your JoyNews channel every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m.
The Football Show with Gary Al Smith. And well, it's very interactive too. Get us on Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, and all other social media platforms. Football just the way you like it. The Football Show every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. only on the JoyNews channel.
Well, thank you very much for staying topic. Nana Addo's 90 days in office. Good or bad? What's the assessment? With me in the studio is Mr. Frederick Odro, who's a government analyst. We just find out his perspective of what he has seen so far. Fred, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nana.
Good. Is it Happy New Year?
We are in Easter
No,
today.
but I haven't seen you this year, have I?
Several times.
Have I?
We've met several times.
Okay. Well, still Happy New Year.
Many happy days.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes, of course. I'm not even going to tell you what the incident was, but yes, we have met. What would be your comment? Let's say you flew over to Sweden this evening and you met your counterpart, government analyst in Sweden, and said, it's been 3 months since your elections. What's the government like?
I think it's been a bit of a whirlwind. There are very good things. We can talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think on the worst possible scenario is the Delta Force invisible force and whatever force you want to talk about. It's a big blot on our democracy, and I believe every right-thinking Ghanaian must be ashamed of what happened to the country, and it must be condemned in no uncertain terms. I believe I take a little consolation in the resolve by what I would say responsible government officials, including the president himself, to nip the skanker in the bud.
But has it been nipped?
Well, I believe the right steps seems to be being taken at this stage, and that the rearrest or the arrest of those who caused the escapees to leave lawful custody is good. The turning of those people who escaped is also a little grace. I'm not saying it is good that they did what they did, but having done that stupid act, forgive my language.
It's no.
I think that the best thing they could have done for themselves was to have turned themselves in. And what I'm expecting from the government and all the people involved in the law enforcement process is to ensure these people are punished as harsh as the law will permit, so that it will serve as a deterrent. I think it was a very bad thing that happened to us. I mean, this for me is the ugliest thing that could have happened to us. The bad things, the seizures here, the seizure there, I believe that led to this most ugly incident that was very unnecessary. There were a lot of violent situations, there were a lot of complaints, and I think by and large, those are the things I would consider to be very bad. But on the other side,
I mean, is it pardonable?
Mama, the fact is that as bad as it is, we cannot continue to beat ourselves. It's happened. Let us stop it once and for all. Well, if we were to discuss just that issue alone tonight, I would tell you, you see, I'm not supporting what has happened, but I think we have allowed this thing to fester over the period, and it is happening today. It's our nemesis coming back to haunt us. We should have stopped this, and I trace the whole thing to. I would not spare the police for allowing these things to happen. Even the recent ones, they cannot escape blame, because they should have done better than the kind of security they provided.
See, but it's so easy for us to say, oh, the police should act, the police should act. We are sat in our comfort of our studio, we go home and sleep. If he acts, he wouldn't have that privilege anymore. He's probably somewhere close to his wife, close to a good school, and then, yeah, Mr. Macho Man goes in there, he's the only one who knows the law. The next thing he knows is whisked off to a part of the country where his children can't find good schools, you know.
Nana, you see, we live in a civil society. We claim we are the bastion of democratic principles in Africa. Now, there are key institutions. If you want to go into any civil society, there are basic institutions which everybody wants to rely upon. Law and order is number one. And you cannot have a law and order when you take out responsible policing out of that.
But the IGP is a political post.
That's one of the first problems we seem to be having. What can we do to insulate our public services and the military, the police, from influence of politicians? But I also think that can we not have people who can stand up and be counted? I have a big problem in our part of the world.
The thing is that
where people refuse.
There are people who can stand up and be counted, but nobody would stand up for them.
Let's in not too recent past, we've had our citizen vigilante. It's not palatable. I don't think he has been very happy with whatever happened to him. But at least, when we talk about people we can go to for credibility, you can't leave out Honorable ABK Amidu, because he stood up for something, and he fought at at a big inconvenience to himself, to stand up for the truth. Can we get some of our professionals standing out and saying that, as for me, I'm not going to give in to this? We are suffering myriad of issues. Galamsey we cannot finish talking about. There is corruption we cannot finish talking about. Now, violence in politics. And we have the police. One of my antidotes is that we should provide security for opposition parties. And this is the job of the police. If, when MPP was in opposition, they could trust the police to provide them with adequate security for everything they did, I don't think we could have had this breed of invisible forces, delta forces. I don't know which force is going to come on our list. So I will not, as much as I'm not laying the total blame, everything on the police, I will not leave them out of the blame until I see them standing up and doing something about these things. Let them provide the security for everybody. Not, we also, when Akufo-Addo was not in power, you saw what happened in his home. Shameful. They say a man's home is his castle. And in his absence, look at what happened there. And we saw police officers defending such an indefensible act. What will happen? These men feel that, let me go and fight for my party to come into power, and I'll also enjoy. That's what breed all the Boko Harams and the rest. So we can't leave out the police. But whatever it is a blot on the MPP that they must accept.
Let's take a couple of videos and expand the conversation.
So we're leaving here in very high spirits. We know the difficulties that have emerged with the events in Kumasi, but we believe that those events are systematically being brought under control in the way that they should be. And reassuring the nation that the commitment that we made, that we're going to serve Ghana under conditions of the rule of law. We're not wavering in that commitment. And we believe that the overwhelming majority of the Ghanaian people support us in that commitment. So I want to thank you very much for taking the effort and the trouble to climb this long hill. Come and meet with me here. I believe these retreats are going to be a normal and regular feature of my government, because collectively we are determined to deliver. We want the Ghanaian people to know that all those things that we said we were going to do, which we have begun to do, we are determined to do.
Well, that was the president there talking about the Kumasi incident. I don't know if there's it was a low point. Fred, I know you've discussed it, but you look at his demeanor, and the people have really embarrassed him. Good animasi, as they will say in Tree.
Very, very embarrassing. Very, very embarrassing. Not only for the president, but also for the MPP as a party, and for Ghana as a country which believes so much in democracy. But all is not lost. I think the redemption will come from the ability of the government and the law enforcement agencies to deal ruthlessly and drastically with these perpetrators, because we need to nip this issue in the bud. Otherwise, it's now become a monster being bred. And if we don't stop it now, we don't know where it's going to land us. And I think I'm happy the president himself appreciates the enormity of the problem and all that it takes to resolve it. I'm happy the police is accepting part of the blame and that they've promised to provide a leadership to resolve the issue. I'm happy with the National Security Minister, with the the Interior Minister. All of them are making the right points about resolving the issue. And I think politicians should come together. This is no time to play politics with us because all the parties are equally guilty. I blame the NDC for what is happening to MPP as much as I blame the MPP for whatever has happened to the NDC or may happen to the NDC. Because for as long as we don't stop this politics of patronage, for as long as we don't stop the politics of winner takes all, and we think that once my government is in power, I have the right to do anything I want, this kind of situation will fester. And you and I, Nana, who may not have a political party to protect us, will be the end sufferers. I mean, we will be worse off than the politicians. Because look at that poor man who was beaten to, who was nearly assaulted in Kumasi. He was going to his day job, doing his legitimate duty, and some people felt he shouldn't be there. How about if it happens to you and I? Sitting here in the studio, somebody says, I'm not happy. So let me go and remove that man of the studio and beat him up. What will happen? That's not what we want. At least I want to be able to come and sit here and talk about the nation. We all have a stake in it. And if the nation develops, it's good for all of us. So I think, yes, it's happened. It is bad. It's unacceptable. It is despicable. But we cannot beat ourselves to the end. I mean, we have to pause and resolve it. And I believe all hands must be on deck.
110 ministers. 110 ministers. Unprecedented. Sometimes they list the number of security couples and it was like 8 people. You know, BNI, GIGP, National Security Advisor, this, that, you know, like 8 security couples. And still, you know, Delta Force will run routes, you know, 110 ministers. I mean, what would you tell your Swedish friend about 110 ministers?
110. I strongly don't have any particular issue with it. You see, this is not very, I'm going to make a statement now. I know it's not going to be very popular, but I'm not quite sure. One of our think tanks, long before the president announced his ministers, made a comment about the sort of public service we have. And Nana, let's not delude ourselves. Are we very happy with the capacity of our public service? I believe it was either CDD or if it wasn't CDD, one of the think tanks, not Imani, definitely no. But they made a strong point about our weak public service, which has difficulty in supporting our governance system. And you may go to a ministry, and there are certain key issues about the ministry that you may not. You see, we have very strong administrative class. But when it comes to the technical class in most of our ministries, I'm very sorry to say we are lacking. I'm not going to pick out any ministry for anybody to say that you are attacking this particular ministry. But it's a fact. If we we go down and do an analysis of the situation, quite a number of people have complained, especially if you are in the civil society arena and you want to deal with government officials, you would expect that you go in, you're going to talk about an issue and you want some level of support. You'll be surprised that the people you're going to deal with may not have the requisite capability to handle certain things. And we are losing a lot out of this.
110 is what? A parallel civil service?
You need strong government when your public service is weak. You need a stronger government to ensure you can achieve what you are talking about. In any case, coming back to the Delta Force, I believe not every minister would have responsibility for security. Let us deal with the people who have to handle it. And for me, it is interior and national security. I think we should hold them firmly. If we spread the guilt around all 110, the people we should hold responsible will escape. They will be part of the bigger party. Let us hold on to the national security and the interior ministries and ask questions of them until we resolve these issues once and for all. Otherwise, we'll go round and round, use the 110 ministers as an excuse, and we'll miss the point. These are the people appointed to deal with security of the state. And it is coming right from their quarters, because we know the issues to do with the National Security Ministry and the issues to do with the police and all the
The argument is there's the BNI who could have picked intelligence. There's the IGP who has, you know, people in front to tackle it. Ministry of Interior is definitely in there. I don't know how Ministry of Defense plays in, but they bring in defense, they bring in the CDS, there's a National Security Advisor, they all have deputies, and you have the forces running route.
Now, if you look at the genesis of this situation, it began with the appointment of a BNI or the Regional Security Coordinator. You see, part of the problem is that we've over-politicized our state institutions. The gentleman who was attacked, Mr. J, apparently was originally in the BNI under President Akufo. Then, come the NDC government under President Mills, he was sacked. He goes to support his party in other areas, apparently in the eastern region. He supports the party comes to power. Now they've removed all the people appointed by the NDC government. And now they are filling the places with their own people from MPP. And then the people from Ashanti region feels that we fought in Ashanti region for the party. So appoint someone from this place. You see, it is the over-politicization of our state institution. If we had a very transparent system for people to make a career and be professionals in some of these key institutions, we know that if I want to become an IGP, this is the level I must attain. So if there is an IGP and the government is misbehaving, or a key political figure is misbehaving, they'll go and arrest the person without fearing whatever will happen. And they will provide security for everybody. So part of the problem is that we've over-politicized our state institutions. And now, what is the criteria for entering the military? What's the criteria for entering the police? What's the criteria of even becoming part of NADMO? I'm telling you today, I was having a chat with a student of mine, and she's worried that she could be sacked from her work in NADMO. Why? Because she was employed under NDC. Wow. Meanwhile, this is a well-qualified individual who's now studying for a master's. And if we are going to throw out such people just because there's a change in government, what kind of country are we building? That's my worry.
The issue of cars that have been bedeviled us, and I proposed a solution which I borrowed from the UK. Now, if you work in a company and they give you a company car, they will normally bring the list. So many cars, up to Rolls Royce, any car. And then you take whichever car you want to use for your company car. So assuming you picked, V8 as a company car, Land Cruiser. Now, the tax element in Land Cruiser is about 100,000 Ghana cedis. Now, the longest they let you use the car is 3 years, and maybe they allow you 9,000 kilometers a year or 12,000 kilometers a year. So they give you the car. As for the car, the company will provide it. But the tax element on the car, every month, they will deduct from your salary. So in the V8, that would be like almost 2,700 cedis. As for the tax, it will be paid. And then you use that car for 3 years. It is at that point that they value the car And if you want to buy it, you buy. But by that time, you would have finished paying for the full tax of the car. And then you have a choice to either give it back or buy it. But the value that you buy it for will be the value that somebody will buy. So your only advantage is that you have used the car from new and you know all the ins and outs of the car. So that's your advantage. And maybe you had the issue to spread it. But I believe if you introduce that, people will start choosing sensible cars. But Fred, here when they say it's a free car, it is free. And you can take it anywhere, do anything you want. And I don't know if this would have bring the shock we've got. Then people won't just say I want a V8. You pay 3,000 cedis every month. I don't know what you know.
No, you see, it underlines the reason why people do anything to get into certain positions because of the freebies. We like our freebies to the extent that we don't even care about the people we are there to govern, their interests. We look at our personal comfort. We've lost the whole essence of public service. And people get into politics basically to live a comfortable life, and in fact, worse still, to enrich themselves. I think we need a paradigm shift.
The president has warned several times that, look, it won't happen in his government. How much of that is a rhetoric to a reality?
Well, we need to start from somewhere. As much as it will take me a little while, mind you, we were here in this country when President Mahama said that henceforth nobody was going to buy their cars. I mean, we all saw, sorry to bring up the issue of former Honorable Jacob Ishibilante, his house, and what happened. We saw members of the immediate past government taking him to court, even after the court had ruled that he acquired the bungalow legitimately. It was used as an ethical issue against him even till today. So for me, after President Mahama had given directives that nobody was going to buy their vehicle, I thought it was the end of the matter. I'm a governance person. That's where my day job is done. I would want to believe in our democratic system. I'm praying very hard that Nana Addo succeed for the sake of Ghana, that we don't lose hope in our politics. So I want to again give the benefit of the doubt to President Akufo-Addo that the order he's given, that henceforth nobody is going to buy new cars, you're not going to purchase your vehicle and all that, will happen so that we can draw a line. Because unless this thing stops, we are wasting so much money. There's so much to be done in this country. Wasting so much money.
Let me pick you on the hope, because you're the second person I've heard say this argument that if this government fails, Ghanaians will lose a lot of hope in politicians in general. Because we believe it's the same book and just different chapters. And the Nana Addo succeeding will give us hope that our politicians make, not necessarily just the MPP, but bring back hope in the body political system again. But how would that be if you are NDC that this man's winning would benefit me? No, his loss is my win.
Now, you see, you have lived in the UK and you would have noticed the level of apathy in their political system. Indeed, in the Western world, countries that are able to get 60% voter turnout consider it to be such a huge thing. We love our politics here, but I'm worried that look at what happens to the local government system when there's an assembly member election. Sometimes the voter turnout is even close to 30%. Woeful. What will happen if we all will start saying, "Oh, Obia Basa"? It shouldn't be like that. We should see competing ideas. That if I come, this is what I want, I'm going to do. I'm going to do it better than you're going to do. And you come and you try to do it better. Then your colleague who has lost the election and sitting down will go and fashion out something to say that this is what I'm going to do, which will be better. You see, part of the reason why the NDC might have had its own problems. But part of the problem, why people voted for Nana-Addo, has a lot to do with the message they sent across. People believed free education, I want to have it. One district, one factory, I want to have it. One village, one dam, I want to have it. All these things are things that people believed will change their lot. So if Nana-Addo is disturbed by Delta Force and the likes, and he fails to do this, what am I going to say? Obi Abasa. So in the end, the worst scenario will be another military intervention. But let me say, God forbid.
We've gone past that. But let's get a clip on the issue of cars.
I put a ban for the time being on the purchase of any new vehicles for members of this government. No matter how dilapidated are the vehicles that are in our fleet, we're going to have to make do with them. These are difficult times for the Ghanaian people, and we should be seen to be acting and respecting that. At the same time, a policy that has worked so far, which has run into a lot of problems because of the way it has been abused, which is that officials can buy cars, official cars. That policy will no longer work. No official is going to have the opportunity to buy any official car. So that we put an end to it, and we put an end to where are the cars, where are the cars. Nobody is going to have that capacity anymore.
A good directive?
I think it's good, but I would wish it goes a bit further. What he's talking now is about purchase of new vehicles by the MDAs. But I want to hear the president talk about purchase of state vehicles by government officials.
He said that too.
Oh, he said that.
So there's two things.
Okay, so those are the two things I want to hear.
So you're not buying new cars.
You're not buying new cars for your MDAs. Two, when we buy the new cars, you're not going to have the right to purchase it after a number of years. If we can go straightly by this, that is not also to say that if there is a need, I think we cannot have a blanket statement that we will not buy any ever at all. Whatever it is at one stage, there may be the need to buy that. There must be proper systems in place for the purchase of new vehicles. Recently, new ministries have been created. Those ministries may have need for vehicles. If need be, with the right approval system, they can purchase that. I don't have any qualms with that. And let me also take this opportunity to make a point regarding purchase of vehicles. You see, I'm very unhappy in this country that when MPP was in power in 2007, 2008, during the Ghana at 50, people made too much fuss about MPP buying vehicles. Throughout the period of President Mills and President Mahama, I never heard anybody complaining about purchase of new vehicles. But this must be something that we should expect from our government, our political leaders, that we will not make profligate expenditures, especially on the purchase of vehicles which may not be needed. We are a poor country. Now let us accept ourselves as a poor country, so we must cut our coat according to the size of our cloth. Otherwise, we're going to put ourselves in a lot of difficulty. And I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm very happy for it. I pray for the sake of our politics, for the sake of our democracy, that the government ensures that whatever they are saying, they do it.
I mean, I think one danger is if anybody should be caught doing it, and they don't act, that will be the end of the authority, and that will be a massive downward spiral. Number one, they've given it, well, we have 9 more days to see what happens in Galamsey. And Peter Abu has given the... that
will be 100 days in office of the government.
Well, that will be fantastic. where he's asked them that he's giving them 3 weeks. And, you know, Fred, I'm wondering which country in this world can I go and plunk something in their water, pollute it, and then the country tells me, well, now you have 3 weeks, just carry on polluting it for the next 3 weeks, and after that, you can stop. I sometimes, you know, I marvel.
No, I am very sad about, you know my views about Galamsey and pollution of our water bodies. I sometimes ask myself, what has gold given to this country? I mean, we've mined gold for over 100 years in this country. I think it's made us worse off than making us better off. And now we are, as a country, I think the single biggest danger to our sustenance as a country is Galamsey. And I'm sad about what we're hearing even from the Chinese. You see, hitherto, most of us have been very quiet about mentioning the Chinese. And now to have them more or less issuing, veiled threats, I think all Ghanaians must come together and take a decision to back our government. That if we depend on China for everything we need and they want to destroy our water bodies, then we must be prepared to cut off relationship with them. This might not sound a very popular idea. I believe officials in government may not be happy with it. But if that is what it will take for us to have good drinking water, so be it. I think we have been trampled upon. It's like you've slapped me and spit into my face, telling me that my water, the one key source to livelihood, we're being told. I think if a Ghanaian were to go to China to sell cocaine, what will happen to that individual? That individual will be shot. So if a Ghanaian, a Chinese come into Ghana and you claim that person has been duped or whatever, and that person is destroying my water body because he's been duped, so we should keep quiet, I'm sorry. I think that we must, civil society, I'm very happy with the role of media houses in Ghana. This is perhaps the only thing every media house seems to believe. But I've heard some people making what I consider to be ugly noises about this, trying to justify certain aspects. I've even heard some Ghanaians trying to justify the role of the Chinese, that some of our people have supported them. It's like saying that, oh, the white man is not guilty of slavery because our people who were sold into slavery were given up by our own people. That does not, the fact that we have evil-minded Ghanaians supporting Galamsey doesn't justify a foreigner who is destroying it. And mind you, some people have told us that even the kind of Galamsey the Ghanaians used to do, they did not use to pollute the water to the level we're experiencing now. What is the stake of a Chinese in Ghana?
Now, there's one sad thing is that, after mining, like you said, 157 years, today, we still expect the Chinese to bring technology. I think it's very unfortunate. I think it's very, very unfortunate. And I say, Peter Omo's 9 days, if he doesn't do anything, I think I'll start a campaign, call for his resignation. Because, I don't know any race in this world.
You remember our good friend, Honorable Indus Afuseni?
Yeah.
Pointed out even an attempt, more or less, to bribe him so that he wouldn't support these activities. I think I will not call for his resignation. Let us support him. Let us take them on.
Then he has to act. If he acts, we will support him.
Unless we see him not going, walking the talk, then we must do everything to remove him. Not only remove him, if the government is not going to, at least if the MPP government succeeds in stopping Galamsey and failing some of their promises, I'll still have a lot of faith in that government and support that government. Because I think it goes to the very core of our existence as a people. If we don't stop this Galamsey menace, we can't buy water. Let's not sit here and say, oh, if we don't do this, after 30 years or so, we may have to import water. We can't afford to import water. We just don't have the money.
Can't even do school feeding program.
So let's not delude ourselves into thinking there's any water somewhere for us to go and import. Much more having the resources to go and import the water. So let us stop the galamsey and regenerate our river bodies so that we can drink from our brims, our offins, our pras, and the rest. This is what God has given to us. We are destroying ourselves and destroying God's nature.
The Christian Council has thrown the president a challenge that you should make the brim drinkable in his lifetime. And I think it's a challenge that he has to take up, to make the brim drinkable in his lifetime. And I think it's a fair challenge.
It's a good thing. That is why, for now, all I want to do is to support the government. Let us put aside our unnecessary politicization. Let us support. It is one Ghana. This is one issue that I consider to be one Ghana. And if every country is going to go against us and we can protect our water bodies. Now, when I meet my Achim friends, I laugh at them. I ask them whether they are Achim people who drink pure water or they are Achim people who drink from brim. There are no more Achim class who drink from brim.
I come from Chebi, you know.
I know. And what are you going to drink? Pure water or what? Or I mean, it's a shame. And I think we need. It should be our collective effort. If you stop talking about it, if the media stop talking about it, it will give people the opportunity. I'm happy with the counting of days. I'm happy with the petition being sent to Parliament. I'm happy with the collated effort to stop this once and for all. And I think it's a good thing that we should all encourage. Let's not give them the opportunity even to fail. That is my view. We shouldn't give the government the opportunity to fail in arresting this galamsey menace. Because if they fail, it's a collective failure. And we shouldn't allow the government to fail. We should do everything it takes for the government to succeed. Because we don't have a lot of time on our hands.
One of the major promises is planting for jobs.
Planting for food.
Yeah, planting food for jobs. And you know, you're going to need this mercury cyanide water to water these plants. Well, I mean, the whole price is gone. The whole tunnel is gone. And Cobra is gone. Brim is gone.
Went along.
Offin is gone. I mean, these are major waters. So where are you going to get the waters to, water the vegetables or the maize?
That's a challenge we have. So you realize that it goes to the core of everything we want to do, from agriculture through manufacturing, everything we do, our daily lives, even the water to bath. It is such, and mind you, the danger is that people are deluding themselves into thinking. I was one of your platforms. I was listening to a program by some people who say they are association of small scale. They say, oh, you can dig water from underground.
No, please.
Forgetting that even the cyanide, what they are putting into the water bodies, even on the air ground, can seep into the underground water. We are not safe even with the underground water. So let us stop these people. And I don't want to make a case for Ghanaian galamsey as opposed to a foreign galamsey. We should stop galamsey now. There must be that issue about stopping them for a period of time until we know we sanitize the system. And if it needs be, that is, if needs be, we can look at parceling the lands to allow them to do their way. And please, let nobody tell me that, 10 million people are dependent on that. How many people are dependent on drug trade? Does it make it right? How many families are dependent on armed robbery? Does it justify armed robbery? So if galamsey is bad and it is killing us, you see, it has also, I shiver when I listen to some people with medical background talking about the effect of some of these things on us in years to come. Could you believe that it can affect the intellect of those unborn. It's got all these cancer and things which we have never heard of. And now we getting reports about cancers and different types of ailments happening to us. And these are things that are associated with some of them. Really ulcer, where did they come from? These are things we must be aware of. And somebody tells me, I don't have a job. If you take me away from this, I'm going to become an armed robber. If you become an armed robber, we'll put you into jail. That's what must happen. We should stop all these things, and it's not helping us. And I think that we need to support. For now, Nana, let's not even start threatening them.
Let's end with one highlight in the 90 days. What will be the highlight in the 90 days, Alison?
I think the appointment of ministers, that was done in record time. I'm very happy with the budget. Indeed, if we can follow the budget, I'm very happy with the truthfulness of the government. For instance, I mean, I've heard so many people say, oh, they've disappointed us, they failed to do this, but I think the government has done very well with some of the promises, the free education, for instance. I'm very happy. It was a very cardinal promise. And if we can trust our politicians, it's good for us. Somebody might not be in power today, but thinks that because I'm not in power, I want the government to fail. The failure of this government is going to be the failure of our political system. So let all politicians support this government to deliver. And then, based on that, if a politician goes to promise, people will say, oh, when they say they do it. It shouldn't be like if politicians promise, they fail. I think they must deal with the key problem they have on their hand now, I would think, is the vigilante and those associated. But I think by and large, they are doing very well in the governance arena. I'm very happy putting together the team. The only minus there is the failure to appoint the rest of the district and municipal chief executives. They've done well with the appointment in Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, and secondly Takrady. I think it's too late. But for that, on the governance level, I would have given
in
the
3 months they've packed up quite a few people.
Until they succeed in I think there's 10 more days or so to the 100 days. If within the 100 days, President Akufo-Addo succeeds in appointing these DCs on the governance front, I'll give the government A+ in terms of governance. Whereas even there is an avenue to redeem themselves on the Delta Force front. So I wish the government all the best. It's just 90 days, but it looks like we've been here for about a whole year under President Akufo-Addo. So I think it's been a tough time.
Could that be why the Delta Force is running helter-skelter, thinking, look, we've been in power for a bit too long? Maybe that could be one of the reasons.
If I have a voice that they will hear, I'll tell them to pipe down and shut up.
Well, thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to say big happy birthday to Otede Nkwafo-Kuto III. The Yakomuhini.
America's to him as well.
Yes, 50 years, you know, that's a good age. 50 years. He's done so well in his short time in reign, and may God continue to bless you and, hey, live another 50 years with good health and wealth. Again, I take the opportunity to invite you to Dumasa on the 14th, 15th, and 16th of April. On the 14th, health and hamper giving to the old ladies and old men. And then on the 15th, we have the kiddie fest and a grand derby. On the Sunday, 16th, we have the moderator coming to celebrate the Presbyterian Church 100 years of Presbyterianism in Edumasa. And then on a Monday, we are all going to the Jekiti Beach. Yeah, we have a beach there, and then you have to join us at the Jekiti Beach on Monday. So if you want a new venue, all roads leads to Edumasa this Easter. Come and see. People will say, oh, this loudmouth crowd, what is Little Republic like? Come and have a look for yourself. But thank you very much, Fred.
You're welcome, Mama.
Happy birthday, King. And tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you for watching.